and welcome to the Rugby Bits podcast. And we've got a nice little video edition of the podcast to look back on the weekend of we're recording when after France has won the gold medal. Congratulations to France. And the Springboks, or the Blitzboks, I should say, won the bronze medal. So they were able to finish third place, which is quite a feat for them being the 12th qualified team in the Olympics and then getting themselves up to third. And I'm joined with Cooks, and we also joined when, there's been a bit of a, I don't know what you want to call it, Cooks, but there's been a bit of a rumbling on social media about one Antoine Dupont. So I think let's just set out what Dupont did in the sevens, which is he started as a starter, but it wasn't really going well. So he shifted into sort of a bench impact role. And essentially, in most of the games, maybe except for the quarterfinal, he had an impact on the game and the team turning around, scoring tries. And the final itself, a try assist, 2 tries, scores a try for rolling ball. And I mean, people then a Twitter conversation started happening about whether Antoine Dupont is the greatest rugby player of all time. And of course, you can imagine how that went. And that's been basically the discourse on Twitter in the last 2 days. So Cooks and I have gotten out of our bunkers. I think both of us haven't really engaged in the discussion as much. So yeah, those are some exclusive views that you're going to get from this. Cooks, I'll start when we'll talk about obviously the sevens through this as well, but let's sort of talk about, I mean, we watch American sports, we've watched First Take and Undisputed, we know a GOAT debate, we've done that in the last few years, but like, how do you, like, what do you think about, or what are your factors in saying, okay, this player is the greatest player of all time?
Well, I mean, first of all, hi guys. I watched the game on Saturday. I was actually at Kez, and what was Kez Maritzburg this weekend, actually, funny enough. And I managed to catch the game on my phone and help us through because it was Kez's last game. So it was very hard to find a TV. And then, I popped back for the bronze game. Then I didn't go on Twitter at all until Sunday morning. Because I'm like, we came third, shared a few things, and then when I woke up to yesterday, I was like, whoa, what has happened here in the last few hours? I was like, wow, there's a lot going on. I mean, Harry Jones did an article about it, Squeech is fighting. South Africans are in arms, All Black fans are in arms, Ben Smith is. I'm like, what on earth has happened? So I thought maybe it was a World Cup that happened on Saturday night and started at that started at 7:15 until it ended on Sunday morning after in a Sunday morning. But oh man, what a day! But you're right. So I left all my GOAT debate chats for Rugby Bits. But I think for me it's twofold. To be the greatest sort of all time in any sport, I do think trophies does play a role. I think obviously, like, I don't want to get a situation where, with these things, it becomes ring chasing as we see in our American counterparts, where, like, people hold you back because you haven't won a World Cup or you haven't won a say it's the sort of trophy, and they go, no, he can't be because he hasn't. Because I do think with this Dupont thing, there's two sides of the story, and because I do think trophies play a man. I do think obviously winning World Cups being the reason your team does win. I think that plays, for me, that becomes that's almost the outlier, the separator. And I also think obviously in the individual talent and freakish talent also plays a massive role. I think because the point that when I found funny about it is there's guys talking about like he isn't good, like, not good, but talking as if like he isn't a freak. Like that's not debate. Like now we're lying. Like let's not lie here. Like that's my thing. Like we're not gonna take away this individual talent. You can't not say, I mean, watch it and say he's not one of the most talented rugby players to have graced the, like, you can't not say. So I do think for me, if you're debating a GOAT talk, I go like, man, let's say Dan Carter for me. I'll start to say Dan Carter is my greatest player of all time, and I say and I look at Dupont and I go, okay, if I compare him to Carter, okay, Carter has won the World Cup when he was, say, in 2015. For me, that's separating them at the top. That's him going from 1A to 1B. Like that's it's not like I'm going to judge him this. I'm like, okay, cool. If I had to pick against the two, I'm going to go that outlier there. Or even something smaller like, okay, maybe Carter's got one more World Player of the Year than Dupont. That's how, but I'm separating them at the very, very top because I just feel like with the Dupont thing, there's just so many camps. So there's this camp where you're saying you can't play, you won't be able to play Curry Cup. Then there's some saying the greatest of all time. So like, there's no in between. So I mean, like that's what I found fun. I mean, that's what I found so strange about this whole debate. But what about you?
Yeah, like I think in most sports I'm consistent on. I will. I think you're right. There must be some level of team achievement, and you must lead your team to big trophies and high achievements, and winning on the biggest stage does count at some level. And even like, well, yeah, we'll get to some of these talking points, but like it does matter for like a player to be winning, at least in Northern Hemisphere, Six Nations and Grand Slams and winning in the Champions Cup and all those sort of things. That adds to it. And that's also, I think, why this doesn't happen without the team achievements that Dupont has had this year. Like that he's cleaned up for Toulouse, he's cleaned up in the French Sevens. Like that's adding to basically the resume. But I mean, I think I'm consistent with most of my sort of like this person's the GOAT, this person's the GOAT. The individual talent and skill, and just being like, I don't think I've seen a person do this before, and it's going to be tough to see someone do this again for a long time. That's also a big part of it. I think for me that almost outweighs the team achievement part of it. And I think that's where Antoine comes with like all of the like natural talent that he has.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I always say this when we talk about Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, and someone will ask me like, because I mean, I always go like, those two are they're the best two I've ever seen. Like I go, talent wise, trophy, they're the best two. But I also like what indicates, say Messi for me. I'll go, man, Messi just does things on the field. You go like, that's not normal. Like I don't think I've ever seen someone do this at this sort of level. And with Dupont, and I watch him, and you're going, man, like, because I want to start with him as the player, individual player, and I think, and I was like, you watch him and you go, man, like, this is what I'm watching. It is freakish. Like, there's certain things you'll do. You're like, I don't think this is normal. Not normal players don't do what this is doing. Like, there was a stat of that Richie McCaw averaged 1.6 turnovers a game for his career, and like Dupont, even though the season's average 1.3, that is ridiculous for a scrum. Like that is, if that's a lock or something, like man, but for this is him. It's just like a side hustle basically. Like I'm gonna do all of this thing. I'm gonna run the attack. I'm gonna kicking game. I'm gonna snipe. But also on top of all of that, I'm gonna be one of the best turnover merchants in the world. Like just as a side hustle. So because that's what I think. Like with Dupont, it's like I'm like there is that freakish individual talent where. And for me, like someone like Dupont there's not many few. I think like Dan Carter's the same way. Richie McCaw at his best is like the same way. I mean, I look at like, I mean, you're watching them, you're going, man, like, even like we talk about Aaron Smith, we talk about him being the GOAT now, and where before I feel where that Dupont is separating him, I'm like, man, there's no one who can pass rugby ball the same way. And I was thinking today, like, for example, like, I thought about Bowden Barrett, and I thought, man, like, I think Bowden Barrett also is one of the players that when he retires, I go, that's one of the greatest rugby players I've ever seen. One of the most talented rugby players I've ever seen, but he might even be the best 10 or best 15. But I just know, like, I don't think there's like 10 or 15 people I've seen play rugby or as gifted as Zusok. Whereas like with Dupont, like I said, I'm like, I don't know where he is, but I can't think of more than one or two people who are in the same breath as Zusok in terms of individual ability. And tell you made a great point. You said this is about 27. And I think it just shows if he's doing the 27, he's got about 50 test caps. That for me is even more impressive when guys go, let's just wait till his career plays out. So I'm like, if you're saying, oh, Messi was 19 years old, you're like, this is one of the best players that we've ever seen in my entire life. Jordan Loam was 18 in 95, and guys were like, yeah, he's better than what's happened before professional era. And Loam didn't won a World Cup, and he was accepted. Like, guys, Loam was the best. You're like, yep. Carter was like 23 when he carved the lines. You're like, I think he's the greatest of all time. And he was accepted. I'm like, I don't know why Dupont now we can't put him in that conversation if he's playing to that level of freakish ability.
Yeah, look, I think that's when I think the conversation has become like a bad faith sort of discourse. And I mean, we've seen this in social media with, LeBron versus Jordan, Ronaldo versus Messi, whatever. Like, at some point, there's just people that are obviously committed. This is not their guy. They're committed to hating him, and that's fine. Like, trust me, people that follow my Twitter, no, I'm committed to hating people. That is completely fine with you. If your agenda is you're never going to see this guy, feel like he's overhyped, feel like he's not good, fine. I really don't mind. Like you said, Cooks, obviously when people go on to like, there's so many minds that do this and all that sort of stuff, and you're overhyping things that he does. I think the thing with Dupont is, for me, my journey with Antoine Dupont, like in the 20, I didn't really pay notice to him in the 2019 World Cup, or even when he came in 2017. Like, I remember hearing about this like very talented guy that just moved to Toulouse, and that people, at least in France, thought, okay, this guy is going to be something. And I can't really say I remember sort of watching him in particular in like before 2019. Then that's when it was COVID, and I started watching in 2020, and obviously France got really good then as well. And you sort of see this guy, and you're like, hey, there's something here. Like, you see I think for me it was the running. I was like, this guy's a really good runner. Like, he just beats defenders, and he's just really good at the support lines. You're like, okay, good. He's a good attacking scrum half. I think I even remember in 2020 tweeting, I mean, Dupont's a great game breaker. I'm not so sure about his kicking and passing. Maybe that was just me being ignorant. Then in 2021, 2022, I just see, okay, this man can kick 60 meters from a box kick, and he can do it on both feet. Then I was like, okay, we're clearly dealing with someone that's absolutely out of this world. Like, this man is now just doing like just bazooka kicks from both feet. Then he's doing cross kicks, he's doing chips over. Then even like his passing, I felt like, okay, this thing is improving. Like, it's not, it felt like it was like like wasn't something he was focusing on. But when he wants to, he can just hit the ball on the mark as much as possible. You're adding the defense, you add that Mac Hansen, like when he drags him back, you add some of the turnovers in the Champions Cup, you add like the things he was doing as New Zealand with like some of the big breaks that he was making. Like, I can think of so many Dupont moments now when you think about him, and it just came in waves, and just feels like he's improving on his game each and every year, which that's what you want from a super player like him. So I think there's two things. One, if you are like, there must be a team achievement that Dupont gets, because it's not like he's not Sergio Parisi. He's not working with like a bad Italian team. He's working with a really talented France team, a team we both said was probably either favorite or second favorite at the World Cup. If you want to hold the fact that got beaten by the Box at home, I mean, sure, fair enough. I still think he played that. I mean, some people I think are now like he didn't play that well. I don't know about that. I think he played really well. Obviously, he was dealing with the face that half his face was broken. And he was genuinely the one attacking threat when France was starting to lose themselves in the second half. He was the one guy that was causing those mini breaks. Him and Mavaka were obviously just ridiculous that day. So I don't mind if the team achievement thing is a big thing. I don't mind, because even for me, I'm probably more on the McCaw side than the Carter side, and it's hard to argue that someone who won basically 90% of the games he played, both for New Zealand and for the Crusaders, it's going to be hard to beat that person. So that's the one thing. The second, and I mean, you mentioned the second thing about, obviously the matter of the discourse has changed. Like, we didn't have a problem with saying Carter was one of the best ever after 2005, and that was literally on one series. Lomu 1995, like Carter and McCall, for du Preez when he was going ridiculous on 2007. Like, we don't have a problem with anointing people. It's not a new thing, even in rugby terms. We're just a bit salty, I think, because it's someone from a completely different country than we used to. It's much easier for the All Blacks. It's much easier for the Springboks. Yeah, we're just like, whoa, like, this man, what has he done type of thing. And that's like, if it's a team achievement thing, I don't mind that. But the last thing is that I think the arguments are running out. And they're running out very quickly. Like, just on a talent basis, I'm like, I don't. Cooks, I'm a Bulls fan. I watch Fourie du Preez. I love Fourie du Preez. He's my second best Springbok I've watched. I'm very much running out of things I can say, okay, du Preez does that better than Dupont. Like, it's getting, that list is getting smaller and smaller. I used to be like, passing and box kicking, controlling the game, being sort of the general, basically running the game from 9, because especially in South Africa, that's what you do. Those things are very quickly running out. I feel like Dupont has games like that 36-0 game that Dupree has once a few weeks, once a few months at least. He's done it against the Boks. Okay, maybe not so much against the Boks. He hasn't had that star game against the Boks yet. He's done against All Blacks, done against Wallabies, done against Ireland, done against England, done against the whole Six Nations, done against everyone, beats everyone for fun in the European Cups. Like, nothing is holding him back from this. I think the only things are just achievement things. And I guess we're kind of in that space where I guess LeBron was before he won the rings in Miami, where we know this man's talented. We know he's generational. He's put up the numbers already individually. It's just the team success. And if that's your thing, fine. There's not much to say about this. But for him to be in this conversation where I am not sure if I'm like, if you ask me now if I'm taking Dupree or Smith or Dupont, I'm not sure. Like, I'm now like, it's difficult for me to say Dupree without a doubt or Smith without a doubt.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that for me, until you raise such a good point, because I want to start off by saying is I think it's because it's from the north. I think that's the big one. And you know, that's the big thing. And I do feel like in South Africa, we do have, I think we do look down on the north. We do. I think there's a lot of people who just go like, sorry, like we play rugby here. You guys have won one World Cup out of all you guys. We've got all the rest of us. We've got the same, but everyone else, I just feel like everyone goes, yeah, I want to respect these guys from the north. So don't come and tell me about a player who wants to come compete with guys that we have who have won World Cups and multiple World Cups for certain players. So I think that's the first one. And my thing is like, I get that, but I mean, I also got like, guys, I mean, you look at now, especially let's say the last 3 years, we've moved up to Europe, and we've all acknowledged that the European Cup is the number one like club competition in the world, and he's been a player of the year in the competition 2 or 3 times already. He was the best player in the competition this year again, in the best competition, and he beat the best sides in Europe. And was man of the match in, like you said, in the final. And for example, he had unbelievable performance in the final in the knockout games that he's been in. So I think there's a discourse that I just feel like say most of South Africans say Kiwis just go win a World Cup and then it's done. Because my question is, are you going to keep the same energy if he does win a World Cup? But then if he wins a World Cup, what are you going to say then? Because then let's say if he had won the World Cup, say in 2027 they won the World Cup. So then it has to be case closed to most people, because the only thing you've sort of held against him is the World Cup. Where I feel like if you're using team success to hold back a person by one thing, you can't go back to that and you can't now add on, no, but so and so, like, no, because you didn't start with that. Your argument started with he's not won a World Cup. No, don't be like, okay, now he needs to win 4. Like, no. Because you said, like, that's the scary thing. For me, that's the tough thing. If you are going with, say, World Cup is the be-all and end-all. Fine, perfect. So then, fuck whatever happens in 3 years before a World Cup, because then it doesn't matter. And I do think, yes, World Cup definitely should have weight. You know, when you're speaking about the greatest, because I want to say, like I said earlier, when you speak about the greatest, there's certain few outliers that you can put aside. As if you're comparing, like, say, if you're comparing 2 players to see who's greater than who, and using things that only those great players, there's only a certain things that you debate with them. Like, you know, I just say, like, you know, if you're debating Dupont and Carter, let's talk about World Player of the Years. That's like, because those are debates that only the things that they should have. But because to say, for example, like now this Dupont thing, like to say, I don't know if it's the best man in the world at the moment. I'm like, okay, guys, like what are we doing here? Like what are we doing here? Like let's not lie. Like that's what I want. I don't want us to lie. Like that's what I'm asking for. Like in a debate. And yes, we can have our agendas against the North. Yes, we can have our agendas against anyone else's. Because I do think with us, we'll always have a reverence when it comes to, say, New Zealand, to Carter, to Mokoko, because we grew up with that. That's what we knew. Super Rugby Crusaders, and we watch this week in, week out. And I look at the guys in Europe, they go, guys, we watch this guy week in, week out, and domestically for France. So they're almost holding in the same breath where they and yes, the All Blacks maybe transcended that because of how dominant they were all around the world. But if you're gonna hold Dupont on these things now, we didn't have the same energy for Carter in 2007 when he botched it, when the All Blacks botched that game in France, botched it. McCall was there in 03 when they lost to the Wallabies. So McCall was the captain 07. And yes, I mean, some shocky, some very, very dodgy refereeing that World Cup in 2011 as well for them to win that first. I'm not trying to get into the fight. I'm just saying. But
just remind me who was man of the match in that final?
The one in
play for the All Blacks.
Yeah, basically. Dusko was man of the match. Dusko was so good he won man of the match and player of the year based on one performance. Like, yeah, you're the best. I haven't seen anything better than this. But so that's my thing. I think if you're putting yourself on a tough cliff if you just got to win a World Cup. And I said, okay, cool, that's fine. But then what happens when he does win if he wins that World Cup? Because then that's the only argument you have against him. Because if this is how he's starting, because I do think it's freakish, and some people are saying no, but Sevens players, Sevens don't even have the best guys playing. So now you're shitting on Sevens to make your point against Dupont. Like what are we doing? You're like, guys, Seven is an extremely difficult sport. No one just wakes up and goes to play Sevens. Like if you don't have skills, if you have any minor flaw in your rugby game, it'll get exposed on a Sevens field. And what I'm saying is, I'm not saying I know his seven stats or I'm saying I know. What I'm saying is, didn't play for France, Six Nations. They weren't great this season. France and Sevens weren't great. Dupont rocks up. They won 2 tournaments and they win the gold medal. Like that does say something. I'm not saying he's on his own. But I'm looking at the common denominator. He goes back to Toulouse. Toulouse wins. They win top 14. They win. And they win the European Cup. So what I'm saying is like the tournaments he's been in. When he's not been in the teams that suffer, when he is there, his teams do well and they bring back trophies. That's got to count for something. And like you said, and now he's adding all these incredible moments on top of it. We all remember, like for example, for Dan Carter, we all remember his incredible moments. But we can't just not talk about him not showing up in 2007. Like that's got to be spoken about. Like McCall was there in 2009 when the Boss beat them 3 times in a row. He was there. We don't speak about that as well. No, but don't forget, guys, McCall got man of the match on debut. Okay, cool. What happened from 2001 to 2011, the 10 years he played before he won the World Cup? That's got to count for something in these conversations. I'm saying, whereas we can't have that. No, I've never sat in a situation. In South Africa, we brag for Lomo Sambo. We brag about that he's never scored a try against us. We never hold it back that guys as good as Jonah to change the game, but damn, imagine he didn't win a World Cup though. So you can't put him in the top. Like, that's my thing is if the World Cup's a be on end all, then you gotta keep that exact same energy if he does win it. So then basically let's say if he wins when he's 31, so then was his case closed? Because that's now because you're saying you can't put him there until he wins the World Cup. If he wins it, does it become case closed? I was gonna say Faf de Klerk is better than Dupont now because Faf's got 2. Because that's a slippery slope people walk in like with trophies. Yeah. That's what I don't like. Where it's like, yeah, but so and so's done this and so's done this. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like that's a tough one when you put together team success. And that's just sole basis is on team success. Because I think there has to be a measuring of meeting halfway in there.
Yeah. So yeah, look, I think number one, it's very tough with rugby to do these conversations. Like basketball, it's a 5-man sport, and we can see you on both sides doing the thing. In rugby, there's so many factors for a scrum half to do well, for a prop to do well, for a flag to do well, for a fly to do well, that it's difficult to be like, okay, isolate this person. Like, I think it's even unfair to say player X won a team a World Cup. That doesn't happen. Maybe a player can win you a match. Like we saw like with the Springboks, Peter State going absolutely crazy in the final, or Itzebeth going crazy in the quarterfinal, and JC Krill. But a player doesn't like go and just carry people, maybe for moments, but not for a whole game. So I think it's just I think we have to acknowledge how difficult that conversation is. So I think just to talk about some of like the casualties of this. So now I guess we're in the ring culture of rugby. Okay, cool. I saw someone tweeting like people listing like Dupont's achievements, like okay, so many top 14, so many Champions Cups, so many favorites titles, this and this and this and this and this. And then someone was like, okay, but like Kolbe has done like basically the same thing. We're like, okay, World Cups 2, sharp. Alliance Series 1, Champions Cup 1, Top 14 1, play of the tournament here and there. Then he said Qatar Airways Cup, and I was like, what? Oh, then I was like, okay, I think we've lost things now.
Don't you dare disrespect the Qatar Airways Cup that we've won twice. And in London, by the way, it's not like we played it. It's not like we played it at home. When you know how rigorous that selection period about who plays. I mean, to go from the All Blacks one year to Wales the next year just shows the legitimacy of this tournament. That you played the All Blacks and won it. Now, like, okay, we're now going to play Wales. So next year we're either playing against France in the Qatar Airways Cup, or we're playing against Japan. So we don't know where you're going with this thing. But what I'm saying, we are the holders of this thing, and I'm so glad that the Qatar Airways Cup is getting some love, because now you're bringing out things like did Dupont win under 19 top 14 on 21 at Toulouse, like, because now you bring up all these things now. I mean, like, you got to bring up all these trophies, and they all matter. Freedom Cup, bring that up.
The Freedom Cup.
How many times did they pick off? How many times? Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, my thing is like, if you bring out the trophies, bring all of them out. Don't now leave some of them. I want Freedom Cups. I want Mandela Shields. I want any trophies to play. Like, I need them. They must all come out and be like, okay, we've been in England. And since Dupont's there, he's been in England 6 times. He's got that trophy. That's what's going to happen now. We got to go full on with this GOAT to pay, because I need the difference to be between how many Qatar Airways Cup does Dupont have and someone else doesn't have. Like, there could be a difference. Like, we never know. Maybe, let's say, for example, like Sasha enters this chat one day if he's cooking me like, yeah, but Sasha, but Dupont never won a Qatar Airways Cup. That's what I want the debate to go to at the end of the day.
Oh goodness. Yeah, so we heading to that place now. It's our full ring culture. I'm all for it, man. I do love that Shaquille O'Neal go for rings type of thing situation there. I mean, I saw this. Look, friend of the show. I mean, we all love Harry Jones, but I don't know what, or if he's like part of like a Gibson Park, like I don't know, like lobby group or something like that. But like trying to put him against Dupont, like, let's stop this. I think everyone can agree on this fact. Dupont is the best scrum half in the world right now, and probably the best backline player in the world right now. I don't see anyone who touches him, at least in the backs. Once say RD touches him, once say Itzebeth touches him, fine, fair enough. But he's the best backline player in the world right now. And go on, quick.
Sorry to cut you off, but which I agree with you. Here's my thing also. People like the best player in the world is a funny thing, because, you know, I mean, there's a stage for the longest time, and I think Dupont probably took over this mantle, I'd say probably maybe 2021, 2022, where there's a stage where, like, guys, there is no better rugby player in the world at the moment than Beauden Barrett. He may not have the best, but then someone may have like a better year. But I'm like, if push comes to shove, if someone says I must choose one, I'm still leaning towards a Beauden Barrett. I'm like, it may not be like, say, the MVP of the year, but I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, guys, if you do an old school pick, I'm still picking that guy first. And I think that sometimes we're like, even with Audi, like, I mean, there's times when Audi wasn't winning, even Audi would be close. You'd be like, oh, guys, you can't tell me there's like 2 guys better than Audi. Like, and I think, like, especially like in the forwards, I'm like, probably him. It Peter Steph for me, maybe the best one for this, where I go, when Peter Steph is at his best, he's a forward. He's the best in the world. Forward, I've seen. When he's cooking, he is the best. And there's times like in the World Cup, for example, when we know what he did we know what he did in the final and that performance. But like, you still can show that up. I'm like, you still go, man, the guy's still top, like a top 10 rugby player in the world. Not necessarily, but like, he may be out injured for a year, but he's like, yeah, I'll still pick him. And I think with Dupont, I think that's where he is for me now, is in certain things I go, yeah, I think he's the best in the world. Necessarily, if I go, like, if I had to choose him, I'm like, yeah, I'll still go with that guy first. But I'll go, man, for someone else to, because normally half the time he's normally nominated for every award anyway. but he's like losing to someone who had like a generational year. This was happening at the point. Like you look at like Boyden Barrett, like or Carter's run and McCaw, and I mean Richie won, I think because Carter won 05, 06 player of the year. And then you go, well, Richie was 6, 7. I mean, it was 6 and Abana was 7. But you go like, for them to win it, Brian Abana had a generational year where he was the best player. Like, doesn't mean Dan Carter's in the GOAT chat, but Brian Abana was like, man, guys, this guy was in the World Cup time John Lomu's record. Then McCaw obviously got back in, say, Carter 08. McCaw stole it from Fui Dupree in 09. And then, like, then even when Brad had his run, like 6-1 in 2018, but you're like, yeah, Brad was good. He was nominated, but Sexton just had a year that you're like, guys, this is the best player in the world. This is the MVP. He's got the wins. So I think that's what I go Dupont always live in that realm. So, but I don't want people to like fall off the thing and go like, yeah, but Dupont didn't win World Player of the Year in this year. But so it doesn't mean now you can still be in this GOAT check. I think that's what I'm worried where this debate's going to go. Where I think it could get very, very toxic about Dupont over the next couple of years. Where the highs will be
even more,
and but the lows will be like if you like say it loses, if France go and lose the first test in the October season, be like, is this your GOAT? Because your guy could not beat the All Blacks in October in 2024. So is this the guy that you are saying is big? Like that's where I don't want it to be. Where it's like that's what my worry is like. Because then you start going on a agenda and you're like, I refuse to acknowledge him here. And I refuse because you can't be like, I'm not so like if you're a World Cup guy, you're like, okay, Dupont, basically the next 3 years, you don't exist to me. I don't care what you do. All that matters is in Australia and the USA in 2027, 2031. Or some be like, oh, man, like this guy, you play a warm-up game, and you be like, this is the greatest guy, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I also, even in that camp, the Dupont lovers, don't think I'm staying your side forever. You guys also need to chill. Just breathe. There's certain times when you're watching and you're like, you pass the ball like 10 minutes, you're like, see? That's why it's a good ball. Whoa! Like, God, you just pass the rugby ball. Like, if you want to bring him to your coach, let's like lift the bar for the sort of praise that we're going to give him. Because even the commentators as well, you're like, guys, let's find a bit, like, let's relax here. Like, and wait for the final. Don't just like, oh. And even like, Mace with the same body, Pure drew to the same thing. The whole world has been waiting for. But he's playing in Saudi Arabia. It's the first game of the World Cup. Like, relax. Like, jeez. Like the soccer scored like 90 goals a season. Like, you know, that's my thing sometimes. Like, I watch Dupont and I love him to bits. But like, you watching him, like the time he's got a pick and go trying to like the genius, pick and go. I'm like, oh, fucking hell. He went a meter. Like, let's just relax as well. Because now you're stirring up that side. Like, I mean, I'm giving it a lot like, we've got to still find a ways to be like, guys, like, can you calm down? Like, we're trying to get this kind of God conversation, but now you're like, he passes the ball 20 meters, you're like, man, I just don't think we've seen anything like it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, okay. But there's no need for like to have hot takes about it. Like, just wait till like I said, for the finals with Sevens or something like Olympics or something. Where it's like, let's not praise everything it does. Like, let's at least be like, okay. Because I think there gets a point where there's certain players, like, you know, the All Blacks eventually, people like used to, always over the All Blacks, like, people got to a point where they would like lose a game. I remember 2016, they'd be like, I think this is the start of the end. I'm like, okay. They still operate at 96% for the year. Like, let's still breathe. And I'm like, no, it's over. I think it's over. I'm like, that's what I want to be to point. Like, even when you praise him in a good way. And then if you're going to hate him, do it also in a good way. Like, find like a happy medium. And that's not just like don't praise him too much. He's like, oh no, like, you know, like, because then people start going like, oh, but like, Olympic sevens, like, really? I'm like, guys, like, now, why is the Olympic sevens catching strays now? Like, I'm like, what do they do? Like, they're just introducing new sports. Because now we'll be like, so get a point, like, oh, but Six Nations doesn't really mean. I'm like, so what must they do? Like play rugby championship? Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh. I'm just saying it's gonna be a wild 4 years now with this Dupont thing.
Yeah, look, there's so many things, but like, I think I don't mind the Sevens commentators hyping Dupont up. Obviously, they knew he was the star of the show, and the whole promo thing from World Rugby to the Olympics to France, everyone was like, "We here for this brother. Want to see him cook," and they I think that's what he cooked. That's the thing.
Like,
And
that's
that's
the
what
thing
you need
about
to
it.
do. Yeah, and that's what you need to do when you're like a newish sport or sport trying to get okay. And that's what frustrates me with like the real rugby fans. I mean, if you want to hate, but like this is we've been praying for this. A genuinely world-class player that has personality, that's there doing cover pages with a yellow gown and in these things. And he's spoken about like big issues like in France about like the election and treatment of like I think LGBT people and all that sort of stuff. Like he's doing ridiculous things. Like he's probably the best player on TikTok if you want to talk about like his clips and all that sort of stuff. And a social media game, I'm sure he doesn't run it himself, but those like one-line tweets with like an amazing photo, like he kills that game. Like this is the package. Him and CL, the two packages. We should be like to the rest of the sporting world, guys. Here's our people. And no, we have to now nitpick everything that he does as well. But you're right, like we also need to calm down. I think it was Rugby Pass when Dupont threw a ball in. It was like list of the things Dupont can do, and now it's like this long list. And I'm like, okay, I mean, let's calm down. Like it's just a throw into the line out.
Like
Like
he's playing
he's been
nine,
doing this for a few
nine,
months now.
like the nine throws in at sevens. Like, I'm like, guys, like this
Yeah.
is he's doing what other sevens players do in his position. Like, but we need the personalities. Like, I'm glad there is. I mean, I'm glad to have the conversation. I'm glad there's. I do think, like, sometimes rugby like does need where. Like, I mean, American sports are about entertainment, right? And they do it well, and then they have to. Like, there's a reason why there's a LeBron talk every day because it sells. It does. It's going to provoke an emotion, and I think rugby. I think it does. I think we are in a position now where we do have proper, genuine superstars, Sia, and Dupont, and probably what is her name from the USA?
Ilona Maher.
Ilona, like she was probably become like the rugby star of the Olympics. Like, but you need that, right? It's personality. Because now I'm going, I need to watch the USA rugby side when they do play. And one thing I am glad for, like with this Dupont thing, I thought the French crowd for the Olympic Sevens has been absolutely fantastic. I mean, they sold out games of the weekend, sold out the women's games, women's sevens rugby as well. That's what you want because there's star attraction, and it's even through TikToks and things like that. That's what you want. I think for rugby, it could be a good thing. Maybe it's the GOAT talk. Maybe now it's like it brings more eyes to Six Nations. Because if my thing is, if you the fans as well, like a friend of mine, in one of my groups, and I'm telling him now for the whole year because you're saying to me, have you seen this Dupont things? I'm like, yeah, it's quite hectic. And he goes like, yeah, man, I'm seeing places in the World Cup, but I'm like, whoa, okay, buddy, like if you're gonna be part of it, just watch the guy play. Like this is not just like jumping and you're not even watching him play. You're like, so the last game you watched him was the same year against us, and then you haven't seen him since October last year. Like you just like this is like there's all this like what 7 months have gone by. You're like, nah, I'm done with this guy. So that's my thing is hopefully it brings more eyes to say, guys, I watch Six Nations. We're gonna watch more European Cup because now you guys have said Tyler said to me this guy's the GOAT. Now I actually want to see him if he is the GOAT. Because there's times people don't support the Crusaders, but they go, Dan Carter's playing, and we feel he's degraded. And the Johnny Wilkinson guys are like, my guy's got a whole World Cup already in Australia, won it. But tell me this guy because he was great against us for 2 weeks, and so what are we doing here? And telling Umaga almost trying to kill our player, but anyway, won't speak about that. But like, so it's like that's what I mean. Like I think hopefully that does bring more eyes to Point, and people do see him playing more. And also, if you're asked starting agendas, you now have more case to lead those agendas. Because I agree with you. I want agendas. I mean, I still believe the greatest, actually, the real GOAT is Finn Russell versus England when they were down by 30 points a couple of years ago. Paul could never do it.
Of course.
What Finn did that day. But anyway, I mean, I just still think, yeah, man, as well. So I don't think how funny. I don't think that's how funny it was yesterday when I logged onto my phone. I was like, "What on earth is happening on Twitter?" Like every second tweets about Dupont. I was like, "What?" Like, I was like, "What is happening?"
And poor another friend of the show, poor Squid Rugby. Like, I don't think there was a more popular person on like SA Rugby Twitter than Squidge, especially when he was like on Chasing the Sun. I think we offered him citizenship. Like, he was the most popular person on like SA Rugby Twitter, and now he's taking the bullets now for this debate. And has obviously every South African telling him that there's Currie Cup and Cradle Week players that can do better than Dupont. Like, shout out to you, Squidge. Like, you're fighting in the front lines. And I mean, yeah, whatever your opinion, I don't even necessarily agree that Dupont is the greatest of all time yet, at least. But yeah, that we even got to our homie Squidge for this. Like, I was just like, yo, this thing is now for real, for real.
I saw a tweet going, guys, we know we love Squidge, but Squidge not the be all and end all. Because now, guys, they're saying like, with the last 4 years, whenever Squidge said something, everyone was like, yeah, it's a be all. And the guys like, I'm like, no, Squidge is no, he's just going after his own, his stats he gives us. I'm like, jeepers. Like, but I mean, to wrap it up, I mean, I still say Merv. Merv was a big watcher of the show. I think for me, he kind of summed it up perfectly when I think of Dupont when he said that it might be too early to put him in GOAT talks, but it's hard to fight. Like, it's hard to fight how good he is. Like, he's so freakish. Like, how can you not say he's one of the best players you've ever seen? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's a fair place to be. It's like, I think maybe it's too early, but I'm like, if someone says it's the GOAT, I can't be like, no, you're wrong. I'm like, because I'm like, that is one of the, because it does things you're like, oh, that's so freakish. That's one of the best I've ever seen. And I'm like, yeah, like for me, it's like a happy medium. Because one thing I don't like about like sports debates is I always say like two things can be true. Like I always say, like it can't always be like I don't think it's the GOAT, but like and like it doesn't mean but I can be like he may not be the GOAT, but he is in the conversation. He is in the way. He is one of the best players I've ever seen. And for me, to say that at 27 is enough because the same thing I said about Dan Carter when you first saw him in 2005, and he had just gotten the 10 jersey properly after 2004. He like is the best thing, one of the best things we've ever seen. Like, and people, I mean, and like, at that stage, like, when I think of Dan Carter is he hadn't played many games as a 10 then before that Lions series, but that may be I think is because I know Merton still played a little bit in 04, and so you're telling me the guy's first year in the jersey, we're saying he's got a performance that is the greatest performance made by a 10. And guys are saying that. I mean, that is we've just seen Johnny Wilkins do mayhem 2 years ago against England. Like, we just seen that guy, Johnny Wilkins, go down and have one of the greatest years in the team greatest years, Grand Slam, tour Australia, tour peak Australia, tour New Zealand, go back win the World Cup, win Player of the Year. And then a guy who's got his first cooked a terrible line side, and they're like, no, this guy's got the greatest performance of all time. I'm like, what I'm saying is like, we can't now jump to conclusions then and then now sort of draw back now before like that's what I'm saying is I want us to keep that same energy where and go this guy could be in those conversations, but let's not take that away from it because he hasn't won a small little trophy that and World Cups are the be, and I agree, I love World Cups. Team-wise is the be all and end all. That's why France will always catch strays for that. For host team, that's fair. Ireland, as good as you are, but you're a team. You got to take that. So that's my thing. Is like let's not now ruin the small good performance because all I'm saying is we're like Carter. We're there 2-5. All right, this guy's the best. This guy's got like 10 starts at 10 starts at 10 yet. We're not, so I can do the same to Pont. That's all I ask.
Yeah. Yeah, I think to wrap up, in terms of like just debates like this, I think we need to realize that every player of their generation, we all go crazy about them at the time. And it might be too much, it might be going too wild and all that sort of stuff. That's what happens. And we go, oh my gosh, this is the best thing I've seen. Obviously, we all have short memories, so we go, okay, this guy's really good. And obviously some of them fall away. Obviously, like for example, with like the Sasha hype now in South Africa, like some of it does fall away, some of it just sustains. I mean, we remember even with like Damien Willemse when he was like 19 and breaking into the Stormers, we thought he was going to be the best thing ever. And we know how that was a roller coaster ride that we got to the place now where we're like, okay, he's genuinely one of the best players in the world. So that happens all the time. We overhype, we kill the players for mistakes. It's just, yeah, it's just a normal part of sports discourse. And certain players in a certain like in like a 5-10 year period, they just announce themselves that this is my time. And you can't tell the story of rugby without talking about me. And that's where Dupont is. He's at that place where Colin McCaw had the 2000s and like mid 2010s. Bowden had his little feature there in the late 2010s. And then basically from 2020, DuPont said, okay, this is my decade, or at least the last 4 years have been mine. And pretty much no one has touched him. Like, if we're very honest, like he's just been that good. Every big game, every small game. There was a person making an argument that he hasn't been good in big games. I'm just like, okay, that's ridiculous. Like, we know this guy has proven it. He's beaten, like, I mean, remember even 2022, we were like, okay, they need to beat the Boks and they need to beat the All Blacks in 2021. He did that. And for those that want him to twist up like the Southern Hemisphere, okay, let's just quickly on that. The Southern Hemisphere thing, it's just not going to happen, unfortunately. Top 14 goes on for 16 months in the year.
I mean,
it's very long. They're still playing it now, I'm sure.
Yeah, it starts tomorrow.
It's just
week one's tomorrow. Week one. Go again. You have 1 weekend off in the top 14, and then it's back to preseason.
Yeah. So guys, it's not going to happen. I'm sad about it. I want DuPont to play in New Zealand. I want France to have a chance of winning a series there. I mean, yeah, like I want those things to happen. It's just the World Rugby calendar and France just doing what they want with top 40. It's just not going to happen at the moment. And genuinely, even like a lot of the French fans that have replied to like criticism about that, they're like, we don't care about Test in July. So they care about Toulouse winning and Castres winning and Montpellier winning. And look, what that's it. That's their culture. Fair enough. Like if beating South Africa or New Zealand is not a big thing for you, then we can't force that on like a team and culture. And now it's stupid to now penalize the point because he hasn't played tests like in Africa. Like that's what's he gonna do about that? He can't now. Is he gonna just fly himself there? Do you want him to now when New Zealand plays next year be like, Maxine, you can stay at home. I want to do this because I'm the GOAT and all that. So I don't know what people want from that part of the conversation. If you want to hold it against him, like it's not going to change. But like you're being purposely ignorant about the context about that.
I mean, he was there in because I know I saw a tweet that said that DuPont was there in 2017 lost on the French tour here, and then that got started. They were like, no. Like no, but if you couldn't beat that Springbok side, I was like, whoa, like are we?
You think that French team?
I was like, did you see that French side? They were probably just as bad as well. That was like the blind leading the blind. That's why that series it's just none of us here's unbelievable heroics those first two games. And you're like, okay, cool, yeah, we move on from there. But like, all right, I mean, this tour thing is. If it's that's the culture, I think we can do about it. I mean, it is. I mean, it's sad for us because I mean, for us, we know as June is a big in the Southern Hemisphere how big the June tests are, but you know because we can't. Like I think, especially in the Southern Hemisphere. I mean, June series and rugby champion. That's where our biggest thing. And yes, we do love a end of year tour. Like what I'm saying is like the 09 Boks. I think they won one test in Europe in the year tour. We don't talk about that. We just go like, guys, this isn't ended against All Blacks. When France kicked the kick and when France got those 2 penalties against the All Blacks and the Chiefs, and we won the Tri-Nations, and when the Lions, what happened after that? It'll be like, yeah, okay, that did not happen. Our season started in June and ended in October. Like because I think we even went to Europe. Like no, we don't even speak about that. So I'm saying is that if you're ranking certain things, I'd say now I think our end of year season tour. I mean, it still is important. I'm not saying it's not. But now I think for us, it's obviously ranked a lot higher because it's in season. It's when our season is now because now we've gone to Europe. But I think before that, the benchmark for us is always June. June, the guys come here. When teams come in, like saying, when the European teams come here, they come here for 3 tests, they're leaving here with 3 losses, and then we've got the right Tri-Nations and Rugby Champ. Whereas I think this in Europe the same thing. It's 6 nations, July. We'll play them test matches, and then obviously we'll have end of year tour. And just France has gone full on. Guys, listen, we don't even care. Like Toulouse won the European Cup. We'll see our biggest issues in the year tour and 6 nations. You guys there, enjoy the 3-match series, 3-match test series. We're gonna have some kids. Hey kids, enjoying New Zealand. We're gonna do huggers for you when you arrive there. DuPont, go put your feet up. You are done for, and that's fine. But we can't fight them for that. I mean, And we can't fight that and then go, man, the season's way too long. I mean, like,
Yes.
so you got to choose one, and you're like, oh, season's way too long. When do you guys rest? I mean, the only thing longer than the French, I mean, top 14 is Scotland season at the moment, who are apparently they might play. I mean, they might be playing a test match this weekend on their world's
I think
longest.
you're playing Brazil.
Oh, yes. But talking about that quickly, you see how Scotland snuck in like it's the first time everyone had away games, 5 straight away. I'm like, you bastards. Like, they never put the opponents in. I'm like, you sneaky, sly bastards, making history of beating flipping USA. I'm like, but anyway, like, if
I'm just saying Finn Russell wasn't there when Scotland had their first time they won 4 away matches in a row in 100 years. I'm just putting it out there. Adam Hastings was there.
damn you, Gregor Townsend. Damn you for that. I can't fight that.
Yeah.
It's history.
You see?
When we have this, when you sit down one day and have the Scottish greatest 10, you're gonna bring that up. I'm like, there's nothing I can do about that because
And that's the thing with these GOAT conversations. Like, it's like, you know, when those presidential debates happen in the US, like everyone has their talking points. No one's going to engage with the things that they are weak in. Like, that's the whole point. I'm just going to be like, I know I'm a LeBron guy. I'm sticking to most points, most assists, best all-round player, 2016. Heat LeBron was probably the best thing ever. You talk about more rings, Jordan, whatever. I'm just going to be like, but Scottie Pippen. You need a Scottie Pippen. So everyone has their talking points. If you realize that, that will help you with all of these conversations. So DuPont, you've got these talking points. You've got these talking points for Carl. You've got these talking points for whatever. It's all good. Like, when you realize that, you realize that this is really stupid and also very fun at the same time.
Yeah.
But with DuPont, we must realize, I think, that since losing the World Cup, and basically getting his face broken. Hey guys, Namibia, shout out to them for that assist. Yeah. But since losing that World Cup, he's had an insane year. Like, this has been one of the best individual years, like outside of like a World Cup or Lions series, whatever the case is. Like 2-7 series won, a top 14, and he was man of the match in that game in the final. Champions Cup, man of the match in the Champions Cup. Rookie of the year, okay, probably was made for him, but whatever. In the sevens as well, wins the sevens Olympic gold. He literally changed the game with his first touch in that sevens in the final. Like, I literally laughed when that man made a break. I was like, this is typical of him. Like, he will just come, pick the ball up, he's up 50 meters, he creates the try. Like, who paces a Fijian, gets around, and then as they're about to be tackled, just pops the ball in and creates the try. Like, he's that guy now. Like, everything he does, it turns to gold. And I'm going to say 2 things, especially for the second viewers. One, guys, let's not push this trophy thing, because New Zealand's going to turn around and be like, hey, where are your rugby championships? That's going to get very awkward for us, because we know we are light in that department. We know that Fourie du Preez can't be like, okay, I just have 1, or whatever the case is. It's a bit just has 1. And even people are saying that 1 is fraudy because it wasn't a full rugby championship. Like, let's just, because we can do the World Cup thing. Oh, great. I mean, that's our.
Before telling, especially like if they're saying, like, for example, like, say Fourie du Preez is still number 1. And I think the key is that we're all in the same fight now going, yes, no, DuPont is not the best, even the best of all time.
Yeah.
And so they go, whoa. I mean, Aaron Smith's the guy who's pushing him. I mean, they both have won World Cup. And, you know, there's other trophies there. So, like, before we get too carried away in the Obes go, like, whoa, the guys you're also naming, they also won World Cup each year. And, like, there's other trophies there, since you're all naming trophies as well. Like, let's not just get. So you must also watch out before, like, we're in a good wicket now, but let's not get too carried away with it, like you said, with the trophies thing.
Yeah, so just watch out this trophy thing. When Sasha is now sort of in that good conversation, I don't want now to us be like, oh, we don't have enough Freedom Cups, we can't battle this. Especially when we are now like putting New Zealand as the standard. Like, literally no player in the world matches that standard. Like, it's crazy that DuPont has a winning record against them, but it's hard to get a winning record against that team. Like, we know that. And then the second thing is, guys, the DuPont haters, like, you reach a certain point with certain players where you just have to be like, okay, you're committed to hating, I'm good. With Formula 1 with Max Verstappen, obviously I'm very committed to hating that man. And at a point, I was just like, you know what? This man's probably going to get 6, 7 world championships. It's going to be tough for me. I must take victory in the moments where he's not good. Like he's not been good the last few races. I can cook on that, but know that the victories are going to be few and far in between. And that's what Dupont has done this year, where it's just been like everyone's been wanting him to fail. Especially, or not everyone, but like people were like obviously sort of hate watching in the Olympics because he was sort of like overhyped for his impact. Us forgetting that the likes of Brian Abana, Sonny Williams, when they came to the Olympics, they didn't do well. Michael Hooper couldn't even make the squad for Australia. Caleb Clark was trying to make the actually probably ruined his All Black career in a way. He tried to go into the 7 squad and couldn't make it. Like we know there's lists of players in the 15s that tried to do that conversion, didn't work out for them. And we've seen now Dupont do something very, very, very unique. And it's gonna be a tough time for you as a Dupont hater. But good luck to you guys. I salute you in this fight. Like you're gonna find the agendas that you can find. I'm just worried that this player is one of those players that he doesn't stop until he gets everything. And if this is just a signal of what's to come, like yeah, it's gonna be hard to bet against him in 2027. It's gonna be hard to bet against him in the next few Six Nations. Like yeah, we know we've talked about this. Yeah, it's one of those things where we should be happy we got that World Cup when we could because the wheel might turn the other way and it could be a bit of a run that they go on.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's well said. I think you hit the nail on the head. Because I do think obviously he's only going to get better, and that's the scariest thing about Antoine Dupont is the fact that he's only getting better. And we've even seen him playing 10 at certain games, and I just think the better he get, and for me the scariest part of him getting better is not exactly it's his kicking's getting better, his passing's getting better, his the way he reads games getting better, his defending better. Like those are such big elements in the game. Then you still add the freak ability on top of all of that. I still think there's in a world where there's a Kurt Lawrence, there's a Cheslin Kolbe, there's the Ricky one bottom bear. I still always go like if there's broken play, there's only one person I want to see that everyone's in is Antoine Dupont, and now his game is still getting better. I think he's going to come make a better player. I mean, he's spending all this time at sevens as well. So yeah, you are right. We might be in for a tough couple of years. As one the box office do a three-peat. I think Antoine Dupont might be the biggest hindrance to that.
Yeah. Okay, good. Let's just go through the other. I mean, yeah, we've spent quite a bit of time. Let's just go through the other rugby news. So, I mean, first of all, congratulations to Fiji. They first lost in 18 Olympic games in the sevens. They're obviously the kings of sevens, and it took obviously a special performance for them to be beaten. Jerry Tuai, like, he's won 2 gold medals. This is his first, like, silver. Ravatamunda was just unstoppable when he got the ball. Like, he was just breaking tackles left, right, and center. Like, yeah, Fiji literally only got beaten by a special team and a special player, and obviously having the whole crowd behind them. Like you literally had to organize a team with the best 15th player in the world, then having home ground advantage for you to even beat Fiji. Like that's ridiculous.
No, it's ridiculous. I mean, and it's hell of a run. I think because Fiji's also been up and down in the series all year, and I just think they just come alive when they hear the World Cup. And I think for them, even going into this, Olympic sevens, like people weren't speaking about them too much, saying maybe other lives are too old. But to lose your first Olympic game after 18 games in another final, I think that just shows the longevity. I think the likes of Jerry Tour have been there. They've been there for the other 2 as well. So again, the Kings of Sevens, and to lose to their French side at home there's definitely no slouch at all to them.
Yeah, and then for the third place, the Blitzboks, it was a roller coaster ride to say the least. I think the first thing to acknowledge is there were many close games that the Blitzboks had. And they sort of took the 2019 template, strong, tough defense, and just taking your chances when you can get them. Selvin Davids was amazing, I think, both in attack and defense. And yeah, we definitely overperformed in order to get to third place there. But big congratulations Philip Snyman and to the Sevens, to Salvin Davis and the Sevens team. Like after, was it Thursday or Wednesday when they played the first games and they lost two of them, I was really like, okay, these guys are not going to make it. Like we're going to be in that 9th to 12th place playoff, and that's going to be it. So they did really well, especially against New Zealand, and ran France really close and took it at the death against Australia. They were good credit.
No, it's definitely a roller coaster of emotions. I mean, again, North African rugby side does things the easy way, so it was. I mean, it was great. I mean, flipping out Thursday was. I mean, Thursday was probably one of the best. I mean, days as a Blitzboks fan. Having to wake up in the morning. I mean, not wake up in the morning. First game, having to win by 21 points to got that, and then an incredible performance against the All Blacks. We saw the best of our attack against Japan, and up the best of our defense against the All Blacks, and again finding ways to win when it matters most. And then again, to me, lots of good French side, and then again against Australian side that has been good, probably more consistent than we have been all season. So it was incredible to watch. You can see the players, what it meant to the players, the occasion. I did love, because obviously the Irish lost another quarterfinal. That did brighten my Thursday. But I loved how at the start of the tournament, everyone's like, yeah, it's great. And then on Wednesday, they're like, the Irish fans, and they're, yeah, it's great. We're going to come top 2. And then when we got through, they're like, why is there 8 teams in the 12-team tournament? I'm like, you weren't saying that before when you were in cruise mode. Like you didn't care who you're playing. I was like, no one cared about, like, I'm like, now we didn't write the rules. We're like, okay, cool, because you've got because you've got like previous medals, that so surely we can get, like, I'm just saying, I did enjoy that part. I did have a good chat because when I saw that Ireland, those quarterfinals, I'm like, oh man, Fiji could do the funniest thing in the world. I mean, Irish team that is flying, had a great year. Heyneke Meyer's back. Oh man, they must hate that. They must hate their stadium, by the way. Yo, if I'm Ireland, like, I don't ever want to go to Start France again. Like, I want to play at the Volodrome, anywhere else but Start France, anywhere else.
Did you see Switch said that they've lost now 21, I think, quarterfinals in international competitions, both men, women, in all the senior competitions. Like I mean, Islanders. So the women are in the quarterfinal today. They're playing Australia of all teams, and yeah, I think that streak's going to continue.
Oh, I need to get Levi and Madison Levi to do the. Oh man, I don't want bad things to happen to Ireland, but I don't mind when it does happen to them, if that makes sense. Like, it's just funny. Like, it's like, listen, and I know that, like, we have the Protea curse, and we just got to our first final. Like, we know exactly what they're going through. So I'm like, I laugh about it. So we're like, because we know what they're going through, but it's just hilarious that it always works out like this. I'm just saying, it's just funny. Like, after a while, because I think, like, if you're Ireland, you must be like, can you play competitions where there is no quarterfinal, like the Junior World?
Straight to a semi-final.
Yeah, Junior World Cup, just top 4. If you're not top 4, you play 5th and 6th, then you go home. No other forms of measurement, just straight semi-finals, plate finals, all that. That's what they want.
Yeah, so Ireland finished 6th, Australia obviously finishing 4th, New Zealand at 5th, and yeah, I think Kenya, also shout out to them for finishing 9th, so they were able to finish as the best of the rest. Yeah, and we mentioned, I mean, we are recording just before the women's quarterfinals, and Australia and New Zealand look impressive. New Zealand had their new super fan, Shelly-Ann Fraser Price. Have you seen that story?
One of the greatest things I saw all weekend. I mean, that's the best thing about the Olympics. Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah, so Michaela Blyder, a player for the Blackfoot or the Silverfoots, she, I don't know, Fraser Price just follows her. She's a big fan of Fraser Price, and then they choose to, or they organize to meet with each other, like DMing. I mean, she was literally asking her team members, like, "Hey, what do I say to Shelly-Ann on in the DMs on Instagram?" Which was hilarious. And they finally meet, and Shelly-Ann even comes to the match on yesterday as well. So yeah, I think the women's sevens are having the best vibes right now. Madison Lever is going to score, I think, a ridiculous amount of tries. Portia Woodman wants to leave on a good note. The France team looks really good as well. The USA are really strong with Ilona Maher leading them. And I think nicely also the women's CMC being good. Like there's obviously been a lot of following from the US people, so that's great. I think they say Ilona Maher should be running back there. She's better than Derrick Henry. Like, yeah, so it's like the hype is building up nicely. And even actually shout out to China as well. Like
Yeah, for the quarterfinals.
they beat yeah, they beat Fiji, who were the bronze medalists last time. Like that's ridiculous.
No, you're right. I mean, I think I must say for the women's sevens game, it's been so great because you get the Michaela Blythe story, you got the greatest in social media account in Mahoy as well. So it's like, and then obviously you're adding, I mean, Australia who are in top form, the Black Ferns, Silver Ferns, they are flying as well. I mean, I'm sure Shelly-Ann Price couldn't believe how very, very good Michaela Blythe is actually, as on top of all of that. She's got like 4 tries. I mean, she's an absolute freak as well. I think obviously the 2 favorites is, Australia and New Zealand. But I mean, the Irish side pushed Australia to the brink in the pool death as well in the pool game. So I think that's going to be good. Don't write off Great Britain as well. They got a proper side as well. So it's gonna be a few great quarterfinals, and I'm glad for it. I think, we wanted Olympic sevens because I mean sevens for the 3rd time the games have been in. So I think sevens has been the right way to go. I think it's gonna gain extreme popularity, especially now with it going to the States for the next one. Oh man, because I mean the States, I think rugby, talking about rugby in the States, I think it's in a good place. I mean, you get the Olympics there, you got the sevens, and then obviously the World Cup. What's it, 2020? The World Cup will be there 3 years later as well. So I think USA Rugby is in a good place. I think they definitely found the new ambassador for the next. She's gonna be leading the charge for the next few years now. She has to be the ambassador of rugby now in America.
Yeah. No, I think we need to capitalize on this. And I mean, a podcast I listened to, an American podcast, was talking about Antoine Dupont and how good he is. Like that's why we do sevens. I mean, sevens in the Olympics is to raise the pro. I mean, we've been shouting about raising the profile of the game. I mean, World Rugby almost took ridiculous millions of dollars to host the Final of the Nations Championship in Qatar, but they decided not to do that. I mean, finally a decision that makes sense. And this is the exposure, the natural exposure we can get and get fans and everything. So look, there'll be fans that will never watch rugby again and think Antoine Dupont is the best thing ever, which is quite funny about this debate as well.
It's the same way you watch diving. You watch one guy like win, and you're like, I mean, this guy. I always love like with sevens guys. I think I've only watched Michael Phelps race like in the Olympics. Like not the world champs. Like you just watch like there's certain guys just pop up there. You're like, there's no other better swimmer. And people are like, no, but they didn't win the summer series. I'm like, hey, that's too much information for me. Like, so definitely Americans are like, that French guy there is a very like, he's been and I'm sure you'll say in some American pub and some everyone will pause like, no, he's no free to pre. And I'm like, did Free be playing in the Olympics? Like, who? The only person I know is this guy here, the Olympic gold medal. Especially like in America where like what a gold medal means to them, like how much weight they put on gold. So they'll be like, this guy has got a gold, this guy doesn't. So I don't know. This is the best guy I've ever seen. So for the American viewers, they have their goat already.
Yeah. Just one more thing, Cooks, I want to ask you and about the Blitzboks is, have Cheslin, Kolbe, and Kwagga Smith actually hurt our Blitzboks by being so good at 15s? My argument is we need maybe a Heyneke Meyer back to tell the players, no, you're too small to play for the Springboks. You need to play sevens. We need that pipeline to go back to what it was, because the Edwin van der Merwes, the Angelo Davis, the JC Pretorius, those guys should have been there in Paris and playing for our sevens team. But instead now they either have dreams for the world, of playing for the Springboks, or they're regulars at the URC. Like, we need to bring back some like size shaming again. We need those small players to come back to the sevens. And Kolbe and those players, I mean, great for them and great obviously for 15s, but they're doing our sevens dirty by being so good at 15s.
I know, you're right. That's such a great point. I mean, like, all these like 670, 75 kg packs they're just trapped in a scrum cap now and be like, I don't need to be anymore. Kolbe and Kolbe's there, curling in the paved the way for me. Edward's there. Like, where are the Dean Halls? Where's the Henomen's? Where are they 100? Like, we're shipping them away. Like, John van der Merwe has broken the record in Australia. I mean, in Scotland. We're shifting away all the big wings. Like, now we have Kwagga Smith on as one of our best players, one of our smallest forwards. you're all right, Tala. We need maybe a Heyneke Meyer just for 1 year, can we get back to 100 like 115 kg loose forwards, please, and from on the bench as well, like not these small forwards, because you're right, because now there all these dreams of like, I don't want to play sevens anymore. I can be a Springbok. Size doesn't matter anymore. And as great as it is, our poor Blitzboks are like, guys, please, we need you to come here first as well. Like, can you? we trying to win World Cup. There's other players from sevens like guys like Hugo Keenan, like they're going back there to go help. And we're like, guys, like I can't go. Like basically, like I can't go there because I need to preseason because I'm needed for the next URC campaign. Like I can't go and help. Like Michael Hooper's got like over 120 tests. He's trying to go there, and we're like, it was like, guys, I just think I need to stay in this 15 things for a bit. I can see your Olympic dreams, but I need to stay. Because I mean, I'd have loved to actually seen. I was saying this in the weekend. I'd have loved to see like Kwagga some of the chases, so those guys go back, because at the end of the day, it is still the first year of a World Cup cycle. So you're going, I mean, it's the biggest thing happening for them the next is the Olympics. You're like, man, go back and play. But then the same guy was like, hey, listen, I'd rather beat Ireland than win a World Cup Olympic gold. I'm like, okay, never mind. Then let's go. Let's just go back. But what I'm saying is, what happens when the Boks don't play for a weekend? The mess they leave behind. They leave rugby in behind.
Yeah, I need Rassie to drop a team or something, please, man.
Who knows what's going to happen this weekend? Because now it's just Curry Cup. Well, I don't know what's going to happen this weekend. Like, because we still get through. Like, I don't know what. Because no Boks for the weekend, and then this is the shit show that's happened now.
Yeah, Rassie needs to do a solid full rugby Twitter. Drop a team. Drop something, man. A press conference. Oh, they're gonna ask. Oh, he's gonna say something about this, isn't he? Oh no, this could actually get worse now.
Right,
I'm so worried.
No, he'll be back now. He's been quietish on Twitter. I mean, obviously, besides naming the whole Irish team for the first test, he has sort of behind himself. I think maybe like now that he's no longer director of rugby full time and and just coaching his full time is like someone's taking his phone away. But I just think, come on, just take one dancing video, with him a little brand new video, something out there. Just we need Rassie. Rugby needs Rassie to do something this weekend. The game needs it. We've got all this followers, all this engagement. The game needs it. Rassie, we need a wild tweet from you this weekend, please.
Yeah, we need something because it's going to be a long week.
Ben Smith is going to provide something. That's all I know. I know my coach. I know my coach. I know my coach.
The realization that South Africans are agreeing with Ben Smith, like it's
Also, did you see
that's when I knew that this conversation's gone crazy.
Picture as a quote on the one, he said the best team in the world at the moment is Ireland, New Zealand. Like that's as much as he agreed, he didn't put it on something like he quoted his last tweet of like the best teams in the world is Ireland, New Zealand, South Africa. He's like, let me put the Dupont thing on top here. I'm like, even though he was agreeing with us, he still had to troll as well. And I love and I know a lot of South Africans get pushed off. Guys, I am a Ben Smith guy. I'm a fan of his. It's relentless. And I love that about it. And I love that it works. What I do for fun is when I'm bored at home, I just go through Ben Smith tweets and watch it and read the comment, and I chuckle every time. Because I mean, it's been working for the last 2 or 3 years. And the best thing about Tyler is he lost the World Cup final, and that didn't stop him. He just carried on. It's like, I don't care. Like, I'm just gonna
new agenda.
Yeah,
I love it, man. Let's get Bayless of rugby. Like he truly just went, okay, that ring doesn't count, like red card and all that sort of stuff. No, shout out to him. Like that's people need to get that. If you're gonna do this for Dupont, have that Ben Smith type of like work ethic, like every day, get videos of Toulouse practices and all that sort of stuff. See, no man, Dupont messed up that dance that they were doing as a celebration as well. Yeah. Like talk about that. Like you must be taking off the points and everything. Like that's how you need to hate. Like 100%. Smith has set the standard for what looks like when you want to hate on a player or a team.
And I know he's got a wild rugby championship stat coming. I mean, all I'm saying is he has one to his standpoint. Is like the only rugby championship he won is at half one in 2019. It's coming up. It's going to bring it up against us. And he's ready. And I just know he's ready. He's just like he's racing this weekend, and then this weekend's going to come out with something wild.
He's just good. Continue this Dupont discourse.
Yeah, and then
he's gonna be the guy that turns around and be like, "Oh, for to pray, you say," and then that's gonna start a World War III on Twitter as well. So, yeah, guys, this friendship with New Zealand is not gonna stick too long, guys. We know this by now.
100%.
Anyway, Cooks, I think let's wrap it up there. Yeah, thank you so much for listening to Rugby Biz podcast. Please follow us on all our social media channels, on YouTube, on Twitter, or on X. The poor Rugby Bits, sorry, the poor Rugby Bits Twitter account getting heat for saying this is the most toxic it's been on rugby Twitter. People are like, no, 2021, it's not even the best. I'm just like, yo, now we're gonna say no, this is not even the GOAT toxic discourse that we've had. Yo, no, man, guys, don't do us like that, please, man.
Yeah, we're just saying we're trying to like say how things are going, and now we're getting attacked as well. I'm just saying they'll never know who's tweeting who. What I'm saying is when we're getting attacked, that's not me because I'll say things under the cloud of rugby bits. So you're lucky that there's a text coming. I'm seeing them on my personal account, not the rugby bits, because I'll say things. And I'll
so please do.
Like, on behalf of Coach Tyler, Jared, and Sean, this is my point.
Oh, guys, so please do follow us because then you might get some clapbacks from one of us as well. And yeah, follow us on our social on our podcast platforms. Please like, share, and subscribe, and make sure that this podcast gets shared with each and every one of us. And yeah, please, with these GOAT debates, drink some water, take it relax, guys. These are the last week or two we have before rugby comes back. Like, take it easy, watch some fencing, watch the canoeing and all that sort of stuff. Just take it relax because the rugby discourse is going to come back in a bad way in the next few weeks, and it's going to be fun. Thank you so much. Have a lovely one. Bye.
Cheers, guys.